Monkley with the dive.
What a beautiful charge dash from Meldon to save him. That faster?
Is that faster?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Meldon gets it.
Oh, this is what a save!
Oh my god, nice.
Good afternoon and welcome back, everybody, to the Ori and the Blind Forest All-Skills Tournament 2018. My name is Vulcan. I'm going to bring you this match here today with my good friend Rainbow Poogle. Poogle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing alright, Vulcan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing quite well. I'm really looking forward to this match. We've got one coming to you from Sorrow Pass between TheRooseIsLoose89 and Axetox. This is going to be a pretty fun matchup with two KBM runners who are going to show some good stuff today. Poogle, what do you know about either of these runners?
I know Roos has probably been running the longest, almost out of everybody. He's been running since the game basically hit shelves originally with the first version of it.
Oh, man. Hearing you say that makes me feel like I'm freaking ancient now. Roos has been around since January 2016, which it's a little bit of the way through the release of vanilla, but yeah, Axetox by comparison a little bit more recent. We did talk to both of these runners. We found out that Roos is going to be watching his opponent today, going to be focusing potentially on places where he can decide not to do a given strat. Maybe if it's a little bit less risky. But yeah, other than that, we're looking forward to a good match. Poogle, what do you think we're going to see today?
I think we're going to see some shenanigans. I think we're going to see some Kuro skips, and hopefully we're not going to see too much spaghetti. But then again, this is a game where Misty Pass exists. Wow, Misty Pass. Misty Woods exist.
Agreed. I mean, they are both pretty deadly areas, so combining them is it's a thing.
I apologize in advance. That sounds terrifying.
Oh man, bringing up some stats for you guys on this sheet. We do have actually we found out that Axetox's listed PB here may be out of date according to their splits which they sent us. They actually have a 39-minute PB, so pretty big gap between the times. But that never really stops anything in Ori, right, Poogle?
No, it doesn't. It also looks like the Roos may have a slightly faster PB as well from between different sheets.
Yeah, that may be the case. We need to get these updated.
Yeah. It's only about, well, it looks like 30 seconds faster than what's currently shown.
Yeah, that seems right. Also, of course, we'll note that Roos is a speedrunner of many other Final Fantasy games and other long games, because just why?
May I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Who proofread these miscellaneous comments?
All right. Well, pretty shortly we're going to get them going. So here we go. Let's go to the action right now. I love that.
That is so cool.
Well, fun thing that we might or might not see off the bat here as both runners are getting started, could be seeing a color code from either of the runners. Poogle, do you know about this color code?
Yes, I do. Runner? I do know this color code. I was confused at first, but when I looked it up, it's really interesting.
Yeah, so this is something that we learned about a long time ago that neither runner's using, so I'm just not even going to talk about it. We'll come back to it later. We're off on our way to the first skill-ish, the Spirit Flame, and on the way, just going to be jumping around here, jumping very slightly faster than running along sloped ground, collecting this first energy cell.
So energy cells being the main method of using 3 or 4 skills?
Yeah, I believe the reasonable number there. And there's going to be counting grenade, charge flame, and of course the all-important charge dash, which we'll get in a little bit. But also to save the game. Poogle, how do you feel about saving the game?
Whenever it's appropriate and you feel like you're going to die.
So always?
Maybe slightly less than always. We are trying to go fast after all. But
Alright.
a well-timed save is a lot better than a very bad death.
That is for sure. So very slight difference in time there. Just Roos having a slightly faster fight with those Frankies. No big deal, as small differences of like a second or two usually aren't going to be the overall difference in a race. Roos picking up his XP from that jump pad, missing one of them, but that's fine. He'll be able to count properly. And Nox-C2 doing the same and making their way
getting
up here.
Sniped by that slime.
Yeah, that slime is not a very fun one. And they're coming up on their ghost door, Poogle, and you want to tell us about this trick?
So what a ghost door is when you die, so that the door will open faster. You save right before the door, you die, when you respawn in, the door's already open for you.
Yep, and one of the lesser known things about that's always fun to see is after a few seconds of respawning, the door comes back. You usually don't see that because you get through it as Roos takes his death cleanly. We'll see if Nox-C2, but yeah, you can see that door respawning off to the side there. Nox-C2 also 1 HP there. No problem for their ghost door either.
So it looks like Bruce is going for that 4th health cell.
Yeah, that's for sure. This is a huge additional amount of safety. Both runners will be taking it. Nox-C2 in addition will be taking another health cell a little bit later on that Roos probably will not take. But they're both going to end up at 6 HP at the end of the game, which as we get further, we'll talk about the fact that they are going to need that to finish the game.
And so has either of them brought up and toggled the UI more than once? Or...
I have seen, I think, Roos bring it up just another once or twice to check his either XP or HP counts. You want to talk about the UI and why it's hidden?
Well, when the UI is not hidden, sign talks. And that's not fast.
Ooh. Oh no! That is an unfortunate death for Nox-C2. Wall jump, not a fun segment to take a death on, as unfortunately the dropping slime there does 2 damage, the spikes do 1, taking an extra hit from that other slime up there as well. Oh, that's a very unfortunate situation.
Risk getting his 2nd energy cell.
That's right, that one going to be very important for a trick coming up in just a little bit. And of course, you always want energy to be able to charge dash later in the game. So Nox-C2 coming in for a 2nd try as Roos is heading up.
So the experience routing for the first part of the game is extremely precise, so that when you either come down or go back up from the wall jump tree, all the spikes poof in the explosion. Looks like Bruce missed a couple of those on the way down.
Yeah, not a huge deal. Can cost you a couple seconds, and it's mostly just annoying. But certainly, you want to get the proper explosion there and be able to just make your way up quickly.
And the experience routing continues until we get to a trick slightly later, which is, again, why the 2 energy is going to be super important.
That's right. So Roos heading down into Blackroot Burrows momentarily. He'll do his Save Anywhere glitch. This was a glitch that is going to come up a lot during this run. You might have seen last night if you tuned in. He's going to use a quick sequence of inputs to store this menu so he can run while the menu is still up. And if he learns an ability after triggering this cutscene, that actually saves the game and makes the game think the cutscene's already played. So now he can just go into BRB with no problem.
Nox-C2's coming back up from wall jump.
Nice climb from him, not having any problems making their way up, and did not get trolled by any remaining brambles or anything like that.
Or the log.
Poogle, do you know the name that we have for that log in the Ori community?
I believe it is called the Trojan log. Am I correct, Religion?
That is correct. Runner named Trojan Dude, who we all love, and is actually one of the top ranked runners in the world, in the top 25, I believe. but had some trouble with that log one day, and so we named it after him. Good job jumping up to that XP orb in BRB for Roos. Was able to get there quickly, and is going to have a pretty quick BRB as a result, as long as he doesn't accidentally happen into any stray lasers here.
Noxy2 getting the save anywhere done quite nicely.
Yep, you never want to get the incorrect timing on that level up, or on that ability learning, as it costs you time to set up the save anywhere and 20 seconds to watch that cutscene. I did notice that Roos missed a cycle in BRB. Those platforms are all cycle-based. That's all 8-second timing, just floating up and down. And unfortunately, he missed the optimal one there. So, you know, cost him 8 seconds. He still got the lead over Noxy2 thanks to that wall jump death. But, you know, obviously that's the type of thing that kind of just sets you off early in the run, missing one of these cycles here. Alright, so nice clean platforming coming from Noxy2 again. Able to get that 100 XP, or both doing the same route pretty much. As far as XP is concerned, I don't believe we're going to see early charge dash from either of these runners.
So, what's the difference between the early charge dash route and the not early charge dash route, Bula?
So the early charge dash route would be taking a little more XP early on, as it looks like Noxy2 also missed the cycle there.
Oof.
And that looks like a good cutscene skip for Roos, I think.
Yep, he got it.
Cool, but yeah, the difference is going to be a couple extra XP pickups that you'll take a little bit later on from here, probably in about 5 or 6 minutes or so. And those XP pickups will allow you to get charge dash while you're entering the Valley of the Wind area later on. And you'll see what that means as we get there. We'll talk about it and catch up on it. But basically, it'll just allow you some slightly faster movement as you're going there. Which actually, as it turns out right now, we believe is just a wash in terms of time. So neither of these runners wants to do that right now.
Noxy2 getting the cycle in this room done perfectly. And Roos is doing a very fun trick we like to call Frankie Walk. Hooligan, what is Frankie Walk?
Oh, Poogle. Frankie Walk is a lovely trick where you walk your good, your pet, the Frankie here, across all of this area, jump across some damaging spikes that don't damage the Frankie, and what you want to do is get a level up right next to this energy door here. It takes 4 energy to open this door. They have 2 max, so you're going to put 2 in, level up, that'll refill their energy, put those next 2 energy into the door, and voila, it opens, and Roos is able to enter Moon Grotto very early.
Noxy2 gets the cutscene skip in Blackroot.
Roos making his way through the Death Gauntlet. Managed to, he missed a shot with Sign on that slime on the wall, which is terrifying when that happens, but he managed to get a safe climb, so he's on his way in here and drops a save, so he's good now.
So, as seen by the 4 energy door, we're obviously not supposed to be here yet.
Well, that's fine, because, we don't really much care for what the game thinks about sequence and how we're supposed to do things.
And looks like Roos not going for early grotto, or missed the cycle?
He did actually go for it, unfortunately bonked against the energy crystal there, so it looks like nothing basically, but yeah. Oh gosh, okay. That's a rough death for Roos, unfortunately. Was just going to update you guys that the delta at the dash tree between the 2 runners was 1:16. That will have shrunk a little bit with that, but fortunately Roos got that save down after the Frankie walk. Otherwise, this would have been a very, very rough death for him.
And he gets it!
Alright, well, second tries the charm. Alright, so Noxy2 making their way through the Death Gauntlet. Roos able to get through without a death this time, so he's safe on the way to double jump, except for all these terrifying spikes here, and this poison water, and this slime, and this Frankie. Now he's dead.
Looks like we're gonna have a high five here pretty soon.
Yep, Noxy2 actually seeming to make an attempt at that early grotto cycle there. Didn't quite have the movement for it, but it's always cool to see a newer runner, or even a less experienced runner, trying some of those harder bits of tech.
There's the high five.
All right, so pretty good progression so far for both runners. Roos making his way to the grotto skip. This trick, I know, has been giving him problems lately, and unfortunately, that's continuing right now. Just a very finicky trick, right, Poogle?
Oh, yeah. There's the one little spot you have to jump on, and if you don't, you fall basically all the way back down.
Yeah,
it's
but
like
he does
Noxie
manage
just
to
got
make
his
it.
double jump. Both of runners going for the blind movement after the double jump tree.
Yep, this it can potentially save a fair bit of time. It is somewhat challenging, but it's usually one of the first bits of blind movement that most runners will learn, and there's pretty good sequences of input you can do that are going to get you the same distance every time. All right, we got the update that at double jump tree, the difference between the two runners was 53 seconds. So that death from Roos definitely helping Noxie to make up a little ground here. But Roos continues to make his way up. He just collected the water vein. And Poogle, what is the water vein?
The water vein is a thing that lets us get into one of the dungeons of the game. It's
How
not
many
like
dungeons
we're really
are
going to
there?
see the other two. There are
That is
3 dungeons
correct.
in this game. We see 1 and a half?
Well, you see, we at least do go to the inside of the third one.
Ooh. Ooh, Noxitude's having a hard time with this grotto skip.
Yep, same problem as for Roos. It's just a very precise position on that wall you need to jump off. And once that log starts swinging, it's incredibly annoying. Roos making pretty good time. He is climbing this tree to collect this ability cell. This is, again, part of their XP and ability route for the entire run. They need to collect a certain number of ability points to be able to get access to Charge Dash later on. And on C2's side, you're seeing the unbridled joy of trying to climb walls in this video game. Climbing walls is something that is actually really difficult, isn't it?
Well, it's even more difficult than climbing walls?
What is that?
Climbing vertical swinging platforms. Which is
We
what
will.
Roos is just about to do.
That's right. Against a tree full of this type of thing, a lot of vertical movement here. And so we're going to see in this first room, Roos is going to do some pretty precise jumping and just make sure to not fall off of these logs. You're not really intended to be standing on top of them, you're more intended to be using the sides, but we don't, again, much care for what the game thinks we should be doing.
Noxitude just fully getting out of Moon Grotto now.
Yep, collecting that XP from that frog on a timed level up. Most of the level ups in this run are intentionally timed for a specific point. Oh, that's a death for Roos. I would say rough, but fortunately he did place a save pretty recently. He's not going to want to have too many more of those, but as a reminder, he is watching his opponent, so he knows how close behind, or not close behind, Noxitude will be as he's going.
Noxitude grabbing the teleporter that I believe is used only once.
That's correct, and it's for the most important teleport of the game at the very end. But clean puzzle there for Roos, able to make it through that section again without taking any additional deaths, so no problem there. On this mini-boss, you're seeing Roos make use of the scroll wheel to quickly spam shots at this mortar worm and take it out as quickly as possible. These spawns are random, which is kind of annoying, but fortunately for him, he gets favorable ones.
Apparently we both missed it. Noxitude missed the cutscene skip.
Ah, that's a shame. It actually doesn't cost that much time, which would be why Noxitude did not bother to retry it, but certainly a little bit, tilting right before you enter. Oh, and apparently got a hyperspeed
Whoa!
on
Oh!
his save.
Hyperspeed
Oh.
straight into the spikes. Willigen, can you explain how hyperspeed works?
Yeah,
I've
so
actually never
you-
seen that done there.
Yeah, it's very easy to accidentally make a hyperspeed save. You just drop a save while you're in the middle of a dash, and it preserves the speed from that dash when you respawn if you are still holding the direction that you originally dashed. So Noxetu, when respawning, he's like, I want to hold right, I want to go right. And yeah, he went right, that's for sure.
I mean, gotta go fast, but wow.
Well, speaking of fast, we've got Bash coming up on Roos's side. Poogle, you want to tell us about the Bash skill?
Well, the Bash skill is probably one of the most unique skills to Ori. It's where you take a projectile, or an enemy, or... no, one of the two, I think. And then you bash away in the direction that you're not trying to go. That was
Quick
a
bit of
terrible
damage
explanation.
there. No, it was fine. You got the idea across, and a quick bit of damage there for Roos. But that might have been part of his setup for an upcoming Ghost Door. And right now he's going for the Keystone duplication, where he's going to kill himself in those spikes while being close enough to put the keys in the door. That causes the keys to return to his inventory, but they also, because he died, respawn in the world, so he's going to be able to collect them a second time, and now he'll have 3 extra Keystones for later on.
Ooh, Noxetu barely avoiding dying to spikes. Really nice save.
This mini-boss is very challenging. It requires some precise movement to be able to continue attacking the boss while not getting killed by his projectiles that he shoots at you. Or the spikes. That other mini-boss that Roos just dealt with, much easier.
Well, they both kill their respective mini-bosses at the same time. Roos now on to one of the other slightly more annoying tricks of this game.
That's right, we're going to see some swamp entry from Roos. He's going to do a quick save glitch to skip, well, he's going to pick up some XP first. That will get him a level up. This is like one of the few level ups where you actually don't care about the timing. He's going to do a save glitch to skip a cutscene here, which would otherwise skip some lasers. And then he's going to manipulate a frog to place it in such a position where it will be able to shoot projectiles to break a bunch of barriers that we are not intended to break.
You think we're going to see the double bash method or the jump ends buffer method?
I think from Roos we're going to be seeing some double bashes. He's definitely comfortable with those in general. Double bash is a frame perfect technique where you release the bash button and then press it again 1 frame later. And that does appear to be what he's doing here. Very nicely done.
On Noxetu's side, we didn't see him double bash the projectile. We saw him bash himself into the spikes. The projectile would actually kill the worm there.
Yeah, that's right. That's a different setup for that Keystone duplication that allows you to save a little bit closer to where you die so that your return trip is a little bit faster. Overall, that saves about 2 seconds, but it's definitely pretty challenging. It's cool to see Noxetu going for that.
Looks like he gets the key first try, too.
Very nice. Definitely doing his absolute best to not let the deficit get worse than it is. It was about 1:40 as of entering Ginso. Probably, you know, increased a little bit. Roos's execution in the back half of Ginso was very good. So presumably it'll be a little bit higher at Stomp. But now we're going to see Roos making his way out and doing a fun sequence of things and a fun trick that we all love called Kuro Cutscene Skip. I mean, good use of an extra bash on that frog there to be able to get at that ability cell. That was it's an ability cell that he needs in his round and allowed him to get there a lot more easily than other methods. Ooh.
Alright, skipping. And he does so.
Yay! A trick that looks like nothing. You can't even tell anything happened.
So
It's actually...
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
If that trick were not to have worked, what would have happened is you would have seen a bird, a very large bird, come swooping down and looking for us.
A large and angry bird. Not to be confused with Angry Birds. Please
Ooh.
don't sue us. All right, a very makeshift. Oh
Ooh.
no! I was gonna say a very makeshift setup to get that frog in place by Noxetu, but unfortunately just took a hit from the projectile and didn't allow him to do what he wanted to do to get it off the spikes.
Oh.
Yeah, this is a very difficult trick. Noxetu having a little trouble with it, not surprising as far as, this is one of the tricks that is hardest to get consistent at in the entire run, really. There's just so much precise bashing involved. You're seeing how difficult it is here. Meanwhile, on Roose's side, of course, he's making his way into Valley of the Wind. As mentioned, the early charge dash route, if he were doing that, just there he would have made a save and learned charge dash, and so it would allow him slightly faster movement through this area here. But overall, we're not really sure that route actually does save any time. Noxetu on the swamp entry.
And he gets it.
The shot. Good stuff. And do please drop a save.
Yep. So I believe both runners are going for Fast Stompless?
Yeah, I believe that's the case. Fast Stompless coming up pretty shortly. The trick where they're going to redirect a spider shot off into the distance and try to hit some rocks that are above Kuro. And they'll also be trying to get an ability cell while waiting for it. So it's a big time save from just not having to... Oh god, Roose taking 3 damage.
That's a little terrifying.
Alright, just needs to not accidentally faceplant any of this. Shot looked good, it was good. Very nice job on Roose.
Because now comes to the part of the game where all of the spikes want to murder you.
Yeah, and he'll be starting that part of the game with 1 health. I think he'll be making a save point down here, which will put him back at 3. So that'll be nice, but unfortunately in Sara Pass, how many damage do the spikes do?
I believe all of the spikes do 4 health.
That is correct. Oh yeah, so you're not touching those spikes. Oh, he actually goes up to the save point to learn charge dash. So that is not going to restore his health because he didn't actually save there.
Ooh. Any hit from either the spikes, the burrs, anything is gonna kill him.
Alright, he's beginning his Sara bash here. Just didn't quite get that double bash, but he gets this one. Should be able to manipulate the bird position properly. That looks really dicey. Oh.
Noxetu coming up to Kuro cutscene skip.
Ooh.
So
Didn't
this
quite
is what we
get
were
it.
talking about with this lovely cutscene.
Oh yeah. Big angry bird. Again, singular. Don't sue us. Alright, so Roose going again for Sara bash. Using a lot of double bashes here. That is his preferred method. But he cuts out a couple at the end and he manages to get in with a nice addition of the charge dash, which for whatever reason didn't go off for him last time.
Noxetu picking up this health cell up above the spiders.
Yep. We had talked to Noxetu and he told us that he was going to pick up that 1 extra health cell. He'll still end up at 6, but he just gets this one right now, and it'll put him at 5 health so that Sara spikes are not instant kill for him. Speaking of instant kill on Roose's side, dodging through all these spooky spikes.
And now for one of what I believe to be the scariest save anywheres in this entire game.
Yeah, this one's pretty terrifying. Pukul, what is he setting up with this save anywhere, Glitch?
I believe he's setting up Terror Break.
That's correct. And what is that exactly?
So Terror Break is when you plop a save anywhere directly above the spikes at the barrier, you jump into it, and then when you pop your save up, it breaks. Aptly named for Terra?
Oh yeah. Everything's named for Terra. But yeah, the act of respawning while being in the middle of a charge jump, for whatever reason, preserves the fact that you're charge jumping, and so it just breaks that barrier from midair, which is incredibly nice and saves a whole bunch of time relative to having to like juggle the frog like we used to.
Looks like Noxetu got through the giant tree cutscene skip and is now heading into Valley of the Winds, an area we don't really see.
Yep. We traverse it a little bit, but yeah, there's this entire other section heading this place I've heard of called Forlorn Ruins?
I don't know. Are we really even sure that exists?
Nope. It's a myth.
I mean, I think one of the groups is named after it, but I think they were just running out of names at that point.
Well, Roos making his way out of Sorrow as Noxy2 coming up to his fast stompless attempt here momentarily. Actually, you know, with less experienced runners, it's often interesting to see whether or not they actually do go for a trick like this, because sometimes they'll say, you know what, today I'm not feeling it. Noxy2 is going for it. That angle looked pretty good, but unfortunately taking a hit on the spikes.
He did make a safety save right at the start of this, though.
Thank goodness.
Can you go for it again? Yes, he is.
And that shot looks good, and getting an extra bash on the spider there, so they're going to be safe. Roos is heading through Misty as we're seeing Noxy2 go up to the ability cell and collect it.
And he gets it.
Great job. Meanwhile, some beautiful Misty movement for Roos on the left side of your screen as he's just charge dashing and bashing and doing all sorts of fun stuff.
Now, had he kept the UI up for maybe a second longer, we would have heard Science say this wonderful exposition.
Oh yeah, all about. Do you know what the torch is called, by the way? That object?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember. Do you remember what it's called?
There will be a pop quiz later. Study up. All right, Roos collecting the climb skill as Noxy2 is doing a rocket jump all the way up to the top here to be able to do his Sorrow Bash. And Roos will be making his way out of Misty, which again will feature some very lovely movement. Oh, but if you can't spare an eyeball for this Sorrow Bash by Noxy2, very nice use of a damage boost there. Oh no! Unfortunately, the charge dash killing the bird didn't get quite the right spacing there, but that looked really nice. You got this, Noxy2.
Come on.
Beauty.
Yes, he gets it.
I really love the addition of that damage boost there. Having 5 health allows you to do that where 4 would not. Oh, the lovely rocket jump from Roos there through that meatball shaft. That is a terrifying rocket jump to do, but he just goes ahead and throws it in there. And the quick kill.
Well, that's a bang zoom if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, there was a mini boss there. I don't know. If you blinked, you probably missed it.
Now, Noxy2 actually taking a damage off of one of the spikes going through the shaft here, but since he has 5 HP, he survives.
Yep, it's a fantastic new runner strat, or even experienced runner strat, where if you're not going for like world record, that health cell costs like 8 seconds. So like, you might be like, oh, why should I take any additional health? But you know what? Like, look, it just saved Noxy2 potentially like a full minute. So like, hey. Not that I would be directing this comment directly at you, Poodle. Kappa. Alright, Terror Break coming up for Noxy2.
And Roos is going for the last skill of the game, Grenade.
Oh, everyone's favorite. I vividly remember in the last tournament when we got to talk about the grenade every run being like, this skill is absolutely required because it's all skills, but it is totally worthless. We don't even use it at all. And now it is required for a huge skip at the end of the game.
Technically speaking, depending on the route the runner chooses to go, it's useful. But I mean, what's 20 seconds?
Oh, no. Not today. Alright, Noxy2 engaged in the Sunstone cutscene skip. Used an ability there to, that is, spends an ability point there to learn an ability and skip the Sunstone cutscene. That's 70 seconds. Roos just did one here for the old-fashioned father cutscene, which he didn't have to watch.
Old-fashioned father cutscene. It's so much better worded than how some of us like to put it. Ooh, and a really nice use of rocket jumps going back up through there.
Yeah, some very beautiful movement coming from Roos here, and he's making very good time here as well. Despite some of the deaths earlier, like his time is going to hover around probably the 34-35 range, which is really solid. Meanwhile, Noxetu making his way into Misty, taking a little damage on some spikes there. I wonder if we're going to see a safety save come out in the near future. I kind of hope so.
Did Roos just use a stomp to move the larger boulder out of the way?
Oh no. Noxetu did take a death. I was saying I was hoping for a safety save, but he didn't drop one, unfortunately. Ran into a projectile, so unfortunately did have to save at the bottom, I guess, there. So actually that's probably why he couldn't drop another one. I did not actually catch what happened on Roos's side there.
I think he used a stomp to move the boulder out of the way so he could like dash right over it. Something. It looked pretty good.
Well, we are coming up on Door Warp, Poogle. You want to tell us about Door Warp?
So, how many frame perfect tricks are we up to now? 3? 4? Door Warp is where as soon as it saves when you get in there, you exit out, and, well, Roos didn't get it first time, but this is a hard trick to do. If you press the frame exactly when you walk in, it does that.
There you go. Teleports you magically to the end of the dungeon because, yeah, logic. Alright, this will begin the final escape for Roos, as Noxetu is still traversing Misty, but we'll give one of our eyeballs to Roos as he's going to finish up here. Final escape, very challenging and frightening here. You know, actually, I'm remembering. I think I said that that both runners would be going for 6 HP, but I actually believe Roos is 5. I think that he usually plays with 5, so we're gonna see how that works out for him.
Oh, and here comes the scary part.
His water's all poisoned. He's taking damage every second that he's in there, but he does get out. And now he's gonna jump up this wall, and he's got the grenade jump coming up. He's gonna line it up at a specific position on the wall, and then aim a charge jump, fire grenade, and charge jump the frame after it. Another one of those frame perfect tricks you mentioned. And he gets it, and he does not get the soft lock failure, so he's good, and he is finishing this race.
Nox keeps dying in Misty. It does look like Roos was at 6 HP. Do that.
Alright, Noxetu now picking up climb as Roos is about to cross the finish line in just a few moments. Just gotta hold right here. Pretty solid time, I gotta say, especially considering the deaths. Nearly everything else must have been perfect for him.
Noxetu having some trouble with these spikes.
This is not a fun section of Misty. So Roos does cross the finish line. He ends with a final time of 34 minutes and 7 seconds. GG to him, and congrats on the victory.
Roos. Also, Misty has a fun section?
Well, I like parts of it. I didn't used to. It took a long time. But now we get to watch Noxetu uninterrupted, and this is definitely the part of the game where you get to see the most variance between different people's strats. So different ways that they'll do this section, just based on what they're comfortable with, how much energy they want to keep for safety saves, which Noxetu seems to be going for almost none, which is pretty impressive. Oh god, that jump.
That was close.
Oh, jeez. Did opt to drop a safety save right before the giant pit of terrifyingness, so that was a good choice. Poogle, what'd you think of our performance from Roos today?
Aside from the couple of deaths, that looked really clean. Even with the couple of deaths, that looked clean.
Yeah, I'm definitely, you got to be happy for the runner on their first run to get a nice clean one. Even with a couple even with a couple deaths, just to be able to, you know, be reasonably close to your PB, gonna feel pretty good. This is within what, like 2 minutes, which given those deaths sounds like a great time. Ooh, a little bit of scary moments here. But Nox is able to get past that. Maybe drop a safety save before the mini boss.
Yeah, he's doing that. But to be fair, what mini boss?
What mini boss indeed.
Both runners having a really clean lack of a mini boss.
Alright, we are now heading back to BRB to pick up Grenade. Noxy2 definitely going to be happy to come to this final stretch of the run. The 37 pace is pretty solid. It's very, especially if you're in that 40 range, it's very difficult to consistently get within that time, but to be like, you know, within just a couple minutes there is very good.
And Religion, do you want to explain why specifically people will take it out there?
Yeah, so there's a door off to the side there that you are able to open by holding a lever, and then it will start closing as soon as you let go of that lever. So what we do is we hold the lever while rekindling a save on top of it, and that actually causes the game to just think the lever's held forever, basically. So by doing that, we're able to pass through that door later without having to go back and hold that lever for a whole bunch of time. Saves, I don't even know, it could be 15 to 20 seconds or something.
And really clean, getting through the Old Father cutscene.
Yep, no problem there. Got our grenade. We've got our last cutscene skip. We just need to finish the game now. So we're going to see how Nox2 is going to move on the way out of here. This, again, is the time when you have every last possible ability to do movement. But some of these areas are very scary to move through. So Nox2, for example, opting out of some of those rocket jumps that you saw from Roos, a perfectly rational decision to make.
And he picks up his 5th health cell or 6th health cell?
That is 6 for Nox2, and apparently Roos did also collect 6.
I believe Roos then picked up the horror cell, and Nox2 is choosing to grab the spider cell instead then.
That is correct. That's a pretty good both beginner and intermediate player move. Like, honestly, again, even up to the point where you're contending for world record, it's only 8 seconds to collect that cell, and actually if you're substituting it for another cell, then technically it's more like a 4-second difference, and that can easily mean the difference between losing like a minute and a half in Sorrow or not. And that's actually, you know, that's a large part of like kind of getting faster times of this game, is learning how to do those trade-offs incrementally and then over time shedding those things. I don't know, what's your philosophy on that type of thing?
Ah.
I say this knowing that you skipped the first health cell in the game.
Oh, jeez. We're not going to go into that. How about we bring something more interesting to the table, like Roos, for example?
How about Door Warp? How about a success for Nox2? How about we do the final escape?
Alright.
but we are going to talk about that later. Gonna shame you on broadcast in front of several hundred people on Speed Gaming. Alright, final escape for Noxy2. Good old time coming up here. We'll see what sort of strats they're gonna do. Not seeing, doesn't look like he's opting for stomp cancels. Pretty advanced and difficult tech for new runners, but definitely going for a lot of charge dashes to speed up the movement through these areas. Oh gosh. Okay. Should be fine? Everything's fine?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Looks like he's going for the grenade jump.
Alright. Took one attempt at it, didn't get it, and just said, it's alright, we'll just finish up. Totally reasonable decision. Alright, so we're going to have Noxy2 holding right here, finishing up with a low 42 or high 42, something like that. Very solid time. Again, we thought his PP was a 42. It turns out it might be a 39, but this is like pretty close to that. So that's really solid, and it's cool to see this performance from Nox in this race. I just noticed what's playing on Reese's side.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Nox now just holding right.
And there it is. 42 minutes and 55 seconds for Noxy2. Congratulations and GG on that finish in this race. And of course, GG to Roos on the victory here.
GG to both runners.
We will be joined by Roos in just a few moments. As we just will wrap up this race and have a quick conversation about how things went there. But what are your thoughts, Poogle? What did you see on both sides that you really liked today?
I've actually not seen the damage boost method for Sorrow Path from Noxy2 before, so that was really interesting.
Yeah, that's something I think I've only really seen from a small handful of runners. I think it's a really great strat for some newer runners to learn. It is scary to take that extra damage there, but if you can, just throw a save down in just a moment after that, and just burn the energy for that, then actually it's really safe. It'll make it a lot easier to get your Sorrow Bash, and you can always move to tougher strats later on.
And we've got full final times up now. Roos's time fully was 34:07, and Noxy2's time was 42:54.
That's right, and as you see, they moved to 1-0 and 0-1 respectively within the group. Obviously, a lot more matches to play. Roos and Noxy2 each having 2 more, Random Sin and Ivuki having 3 of their own. And we are joined now by TheRooseIsLoose89. Roos, welcome in, and GG, dude.
Hey, thank you very much. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing good. How are you doing?
Oh, feeling pretty good. If I could have shored up that early game a little bit better, then I'd be feeling great. But honestly, I think the back half went well enough that I'm still happy with how everything went today.
Yeah, so let's talk about the back half. We'll start with that since that'll be a little bit more positive. How specifically with your late game, what parts stand out to you as the parts that you best played today, and what parts are the parts that you focus on the most in your practice?
Definitely, I think Misty Woods went really, really well. I can't think of any big mistakes I made there. Little small things here and there, but I think that entire section went quite well. A little bit of spaghetti towards the very end, like with the third try door warp, but I think everything from like Sunstone towards the end was really good. And that does reflect what I practice the most, just because that's the part of the game I enjoy the most, so I tend to load that up first when I'm doing IL practice. And I definitely think that showed today with like where the pressure of tournament matches exposed flaws in my game and where I was able to rise to the challenge.
Yeah, I certainly can't describe it any better than that. And you know, the nice thing about getting your matches with less experienced runners out of the way, to use a euphemism, I mean, let's be honest, right? You don't want to go up against the runner that is like equal to your PB immediately. Does that enter into your consideration at all?
Yeah, you know what? After this run I just got, Randomson, thanks for being sick today, buddy, because he probably would destroy me if we raced right now. If I'd put up this run against Randomson, very good chance I would have lost that race. So this gives me a week to practice that early game and hopefully put up maybe like a mid 32 or something like that when that race against the number 2 seed comes around.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Roos. Congrats again on the victory. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Poogle, do you have any final thoughts for our viewers today?
We do have another race right here on Speed Gaming 2 at 9 p.m. EST, or about 5 hours from now. It's going to be versus Smashy and Sarah Barron.
Yep, that's going to be a good one. Really looking forward to seeing that in a little bit. Both of those runners are extremely skilled, so it'll be pretty fun to watch. But yeah, that's going to do it for us for now. Thank you all for watching. I want to thank Griffs and Stolblocka for acting as our stats people in the truck today, and Hobbs again for restreaming for us, as well as, of course, Speed Gaming as always. Thank you for allowing us to be on your channels. And yeah, we'll see you guys in a little bit. Poogle, thank you very much for joining me today. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day as well, and good day to everybody. Well, when the UI is not hidden, sign talks. And that's not fast.
Ooh. Oh no! That is an unfortunate death for Nox-C2. Wall jump not bonked against the energy crystal there, so it looks like nothing basically, but yeah. Oh gosh, okay. That's a rough death for Roos, unfortunately. Very nicely done. Probably should. That route actually does save any time. Axetox on the swamp entry.
And he gets it.
Good shot. Good stuff. Alright, just needs to not accidentally faceplant any of this. Shot looked good. It was good. Very nice job on this. On the spider there, so they're going to be safe. Roos is heading through Misty as we're seeing Nox-C2 go up to the ability cell and collect it.
And he gets it.
Great job. There, having 5 health allows you to do that where 4 would not. Oh, the lovely rocket jump from Roos there through that meatball shaft.
Use a stomp to move the larger boulder out of the way?
Oh no. Nox-C2 did take a death. I was saying I was hoping for a safety save, but he didn't drop one, unfortunately. And then aim a grenade, charge jump, fire grenade, and charge jump the frame after it. Another one of those frame perfect tricks you mentioned. and he gets it, and he does not get the soft lock failure, so he's good, and he is pretty impressive. Oh god, that jump.
That was close.
Oh, jeez.